Resorted to shutting down operations completely. In fact, in the space of 3 months last year, 4,000 jobs were cut, with over 10 companies in telecommunications, betting, banking, construction and travel either closing shop or letting go of staff. So why 2019 and why the massive layoffs? Well, Richard Ngatia, the president of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, believes several factors were at play. Well, the Brexit affecting Kenya's horticulture industry, the long rains impacting agricultural production, not to mention the manufacturing sector hit heavily by high energy costs and punitive licensing requirements. For manufacturing alone, these were the casualties.
Most of the companies, about 10 companies, laying off some of their staff to a number of about 6,800 last year.
And it wasn't just big industry suffering last year. SMEs were equally affected, especially when banks stopped lending to small businesses and instead decided to invest in risk-free government securities due to the interest rate cap. Now, one of the residual effects, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, on average, 400,000 MSMEs close each year. However, measures put in place by the chamber and banks could remedy that.
So we capacity build them before they get in negotiations or conversations with the financial institutions. Now they have come in to support the small traders, one, to support them with finance and to see how they can also be accommodated without being given, being providing collateral, because that is one hindrance that was there.
Well, let's meet the faces behind those numbers from last year. I sat down with two individuals who narrate a very tough 2019 in business and the job market. Listen in. Two women, two different circumstances, but one similar outcome of loss. Julia Awor is a nutritionist by training, as well as an administration and customer care professional. She was one of some 400 staff who lost their jobs last year when betting giant SportPesa pulled the plug on its operations in protest against a valid tax regulation.
My name is Julia.
This clip of Julia holding a letter from her former employer and narrating her shock at the action to fire her and her colleagues sparked reaction on social media under the hashtags Save My Job and I Lost My Job. Today, she narrates how the last few months have been in the club of the unemployed. Faith Watari is an occupational therapist who started the Hermitage Therapy Center in 2011 with hopes of becoming a choice location for children with special needs. In 2013, she expanded her business, growing it into a school for special needs children. Tough times in 2019 forced her to close the facility. She tells us what's next as she recovers from the closure. All right, I think I want to start with you, Julia. Your story is pretty well known because you're one of the brave souls who went onto social media, after receiving that letter and basically sharing your story. When you were in that moment, speaking to your phone, and of course you're broadcasting to you didn't know who, what emotions were going through your mind? You just received this letter from the employer. You loved your job, yes, and you wanted to grow in the company, but circumstances changed. So what was going through your mind? What kind of emotions were taking place at that time?
I think the moment we were given our letters, first it's just pure shock.
Yeah.
And of course you get worried. You had this job. You had money coming in every other month to pay your bills, and you have the medical cover. I have a health loan. I was paying comfortably and everything was running smoothly. So just getting that, I don't know, it's something that you cannot even explain. You just get worried. I'm a mom. You get worried on what next.
Yeah.
Plus at the same time, so many companies were closing down.
Yes.
So you wonder if at all you want to look for another job, and companies are also laying off they're people, so how will they hire you?
Right.
So of course, it was a worrying time for me.
So how did you manage, because there's panic, and like you said, you're a mom, and you're thinking, okay, you know, I have someone else depending on me. Where do I even go from here?
Yeah. So basically at that time I wasn't even thinking on what next, but just the pure worry on what to do. But of course you can't just keep on being there and hanging on and crying or something. You just have to figure out the way forward. And maybe if it's employment and something to do, just keep on, because at this point where we are at, it's about also your networks and the people you speak to. Yes. So basically it's my family and friends. They were there for me, and be able to just tell them, if you hear something, you let me know.
Wow.
Yes.
And it's interesting because, you know, it's like a shock to the system where you're in the club of employed.
Yes.
And next thing you know, you're calling relatives and friends and saying, hey, if you hear anything, you know, to be in that space, what did that do to you even emotionally and mentally?
I remember once we closed down, I remember like the first week, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want calls or something, so I would lock myself in. And I'm not the kind of person to lock myself up, so many people were worried. They're like, no, are you already out of the house or something? So for me, it was really tough. And then staying also indoors eats you up, because now you're thinking too much, and you don't have someone to talk to, and at that time you don't want to explain yourself to each and every other person, so you just want your moment. And I believe sometimes it helps having that moment to just cool off and be able to just absorb everything. Yeah, so it really helped, but I had to pull myself up. Thank God at some point I had to see, there's a lady, a psychologist at some point. She offered, out of now my video going viral, so I think that was really helpful.
Wow. And Faith, in your case, you had a school you're running, a business that you're running, and hit tough times last year, like many other businesses. So what happened?
The tough times began in 2018, towards the end of 2017, and I think it was a countrywide situation where you everybody's thinking, okay, after elections things are a bit thick and then things go up. So we were waiting for the up trajectory, and it continued going down. And what I realized was usually I make 4-month plans for my business, and the math just wasn't adding up. It refused and refused, and it was the first time this was happening. And I had just expanded my business. We had just moved to a bigger place where we were going to offer inclusive education to our children with special needs. I had just shipped in things from China, paid $500,000 to the shipping agency. So it was quite a heavy investment that I had just done. So at that point, you don't have a lot of cash flow to play around with. And the realization that this is going down, you can see it, it's coming. And just as Julia is saying, when it finally hit home, and you feel as though the storm is literally just sweeping around you, and you're right in the middle. Just as she is, I am a mother as well, and my daughter is looking up to me and wondering, how come you're not banking today? Because she was used to, we're going to the bank, let's go put money inside. So that's what happened. You feel as though this storm has come, and you go numb. Before everything finally settles down, you go numb the first moments.
You know, I'm curious because in your scenario, you were the boss.
Yeah.
You know, and you're thinking there's many other people who rely on me. There's clients who rely on this service as well. So when you're having to break this news to these individuals, you know, how did you do that, and what toll did it take on you?
With my staff members and my clients, I had meetings with each family, and even now they will call, how are you doing? They'll check up on me. Even parents of the children that I was treating, several will still call, how are you doing? Are you ever thinking of restarting? So it's still refreshing to know that there are still people who are would I call them armor bearers? They're still behind the scenes, waiting to move.
And you know, Julia, the fact that you were brave enough to share, because case in point, we try to get people to share their experiences of losing jobs. No one wanted to speak. Why did you feel you wanted to share?
Okay, so basically, like I told you, most of my friends know me. I'm not the kind of person to just shut off when things are just going wrong. And when that happened, we'd already heard of different companies closing down, and some of them also laying off their employees. So it meant it's everywhere. It's just not us, but so many people are going through that. And I didn't, when I was doing the video, I was actually sharing it, wanted to share in a group on WhatsApp. So I guess when I shared it, so many people felt it, and so and there's a lady who decided to share it on Twitter. So, and when it got shared on Twitter and Facebook, people would even come to my inbox and say, you know, Julia, you're lucky you even had a job. I've been jobless for this number of years or something. So you would notice more people are relating to whatever I was going through. And it's such a sad affair, because we've seen even this year already, we've already seen so Kijabe Hospital already laying off their employees. So I think it's a crisis of some sort.
And how are you coping? This is now several months after that experience. How are you coping now?
Yeah, so basically having hired income flowing in every month, I had to cut down on certain things, get to move in a smaller house. My son stays with my mom, so basically that helps me to even just be sober-minded, because you know, when they're there, I remember my son asking me, Mom, you no longer go to work. Of course, he was enjoying my company. Now he was having more of me, but now he's also wondering, why are you not leaving, you know? But I've also realized things are harder now. It wasn't like back then when I was out of campus, when you would leave and do applications and get a couple of interviews and now choose and pick up the best from it. Right now, you apply, you don't even get an apology. Not even an apology. Not even a reply. And then for the ones that you get, you've been employed and you have this experience, but you cannot use that to negotiate your salary. So because everyone is out here and is jobless, you're given just one-off figure. So it's either you pick it or you stay without. And everyone can attest to the fact that there's no money. There's no money flowing.
Faith, and I'm just hearing Julia talking about there's no money flowing. You know, people are saying, yeah, we're hearing the economy is growing, but there's no trickle down to where we're seeing anything in our pockets. You had mentioned to me earlier how 2 investors had pulled out. You're trying to go to banks to get loans. That's a struggle. So when you're dealing with that kind of circumstance in terms of trying to get capital to stay afloat and it's not working, what did you do?
You try everything. You try and marketing needs money. So you try and use methods which will not really take up a lot of money, but they still need money. They still need your time. Your staff need you. The parents need you. My child needs me. There's a demand on this one human being called Faith, and you must function at 100%. I think what I'm seeing is a case where, yes, the government is saying, there is an improvement in business by I think over 6%. World Bank says so. We cannot argue with those figures, but I feel that SMEs may need to do businesses together.
Okay.
I think that's where it needs to happen,
right,
and not upwards. I think we need to change how we are doing business, not upwards. We need to do it with each other, so the money flows this way and not this way, because it's not coming down. It's going up, it's not coming down. I think that may have to be the solution right now for SMEs to remain afloat. But if we're waiting for it to come down, that understanding is not happening and the conversation is not going on.
It's a very interesting observation, you know. And Julia, for someone who is watching, because we didn't get exactly to the whole processing anger part, they're watching, they're in the space where they're wondering, how do I even move from here? Yes, I just got fired, I have no prospects, I have no networks, you know. What do you tell them? And for you personally, what are your prospects for 2020? What gives you hope for this new year?
Adjusting can be really crazy, and personally I found it very hard, and sometimes you'll get advice from people. Yes, listen, but try and put yourself in a situation where you're not going to put yourself in a fix, because sometimes maybe you have the little monies that you came out with and you're told go the business way. Right now there's so many things when it comes to business. I'm sure Faith can attest to that. There's crazy licenses and permits that you need to even start. So you have to be careful on what you get from people, and just try to understand how you'll go about it. And for now I can say, because I don't know if I can give anyone an advice that doing applications can work sometimes, but you just have to try. Just do applications. Sometimes when you're meeting people in new places, I know it might seem desperate sometimes, but it's not so bad telling someone, by the way, I did this and this, and I'm looking for something to do. It really does help. So 2020, I've gone for a few interviews, hoping something good comes out of it. Then again, of course, now you have to think of, yes, if I have a job, what can I have as well on the side where I can be able to generate income? Personally, I'm a nutritionist by profession, but now I've also gone to admin and customer service for the longest time. Yes, so sometimes I also have friends who come and tell me, Julia, I need a meal planning or a diet plan for maybe a month or something. Like now it was December and everything. So those are the things that you try and do and see how it goes.
I know there's a bright spot for you this year, so it's not all doom and gloom.
No. The fire is back. I'm looking forward to September this year to opening the new program that we're going to be providing, still in special needs. I think I had sworn I'm never going back to special needs ever, and I was there with God. Why did you put me in such a line of work? And God is so merciful. He was kind and gentle, and finally he has showed me that no, your time of healing has happened. It's time to get back.
Thank you so much, Julia and Faith, for just sharing your stories and showing Kenyans that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't have to be down after you've been kicked down. So thank you so much. Keep the conversation going on social media, #CitizenWeekend. We want to hear from you. Any stories you want to share about either a job loss or even shutting down your business. It may help someone else out there.